Disclaimer: the views expressed by the host of Insider Exchange do not necessarily represent those of our clients, sponsors, partners, or guests and should not be considered investment advice in any way. Similarly, the views and opinions of our guests and clients do not necessarily reflect those of our hosts or on our platform. Nothing shared on this platform should be read as constituting investment advice of any kind on the part of Insider Exchange. Any of its hosts, guests, partners, or sponsors trading and investing carry varying levels of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please ensure you fully understand the risk and take appropriate care to manage your risk. We strongly advise that you obtain independent financial, legal, and tax advice from regulated professionals and institutions before proceeding with investment decisions. Can I go and play now?
Welcome to the Christmas special, the Christmas edition of Insider Exchange. There are no rules. It's been a long year, and Santa threw up in our studio. We have no structure. We don't know what we're going to talk about today. We're going to reflect on the year that was. We're going to reflect on some key things, and we're going to be bringing back our annual festive favors, our Christmas awards. We will look at some of the most interesting events and developments throughout the year and reward those that we feel have earned their titles. So that's what the show's going to look like today. This is what we look like today.
Yeah, I can't get over the things above your eyes there.
The reindeer antlers.
Yeah.
Wait, Sai. Just wait.
I know, they
I have a surprise.
Noted.
It's Christmas. It's the festive season.
I am full sleep from holiday.
There we go. See, plenty of reasons to be jolly. We have a very special team behind the scenes that worked hard on the decor, on the design, on the layouts, everything here, right? So shout out to our secret elves. We won't name drop their names, but shout out to all of them. It's a Christmas tree. For those wondering why Santa threw up in our studio, because it's Christmas, he does that sort of thing, but because, well, we're festive. Why can't we be festive? We've got some really cool things that allow us to be festive, and some of these were, I don't know where the inspiration for some of them came. I mean, some elves are having a little too much fun, whereas others are confused as to what's happening. We will leave it at that and get into the show. Let's kick things off. Let's get the show on the road.
Outside of 98 are currently collapsing.
Privilege of welcoming one of our good friends into studio.
So not even Buffett listens to Buffett. Sue me, China, if you must. But
1 or 22 on AC, but you're not getting that at home.
Ken, there's quite a bit to discuss.
the stock is cheap.
The last podcast I did.
Introduce me.
I'm Jimmy Moyaha.
And I'm Simon Brown.
Welcome to Insider Exchange.
We are going to be reflecting on some of the best and worst moments of our year. Our problem
Is that we support Ferrari. I've told you this. If there were two cars in the race and both were Ferrari, they would come through.
Who's going to win this Grand Prix? It's a mystery. Well, off the back of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and what happened there.
I stand by it, and man, I am so scared of next year. There is a chance. There is a world. I think there's a lot of worlds out there where Ferrari is like last next year.
Oh, don't say that.
Because it's a whole new car.
Don't say that.
I know.
I do think, though, and I want to be optimistic about this going into next year. I think, perhaps I'll put it out now as a prediction, that in spite of everything, with all of what has happened in the world of F1, I want to say next year is the year Sir Lewis takes his 9th title. Yes, I said 9th. I did not mince my words on that one, because you know FIA what 8th was. And even with a...
I hope so.
Do you know why, Simon?
Gen
do you know
B
why?
will be this time. So the problem is we won't be able to do this show next year because I will still be drunk.
If that happens.
He would only have won on Sunday evening.
Yes.
And I would still be drunk.
But do you know why? Because all of the changes that have been made, right? You've gotten rid of DRS, you've brought in a new system. Now the front wing and the rear wing can move around. All of those sorts of things have taken away from, and again, this is one of the reasons I stopped watching the sport. You've taken away from the purity of the sport, where it was just a V10 engine and a driver, and may the best man win, right? And I think slowly but surely we will edge back towards that. And then you'll see a head-to-head race with Max and Sir Lewis. Max, good driver, good gamer, fantastic, all of those sorts of merits in that, right? Sir Lewis is coming up on 20 years of relevance and dominance in the sport. Give him the 9th title, guys. Put him in a car, let him drive, put him in a decent car.
A car that goes forward.
A car that goes forward. That's how we're going to reflect on that, Bobble. And now the same United States that's supposed to then come back and account for or do their part to undo climate change is the first to pull out of the Paris Accord. Oh, yes. So when the US pulled out of the Paris Accords, one of the first things that Donald Trump did, right? And that was insane because we were like, what happened to the climate? Interestingly enough, on that, and this is probably the best place to put it in, the EU has now abandoned the green drive. ICE engines aren't the villains that they were made out to be in the pandemic. So nobody has the transition requirements up to 2035 anymore.
Okay, so we're all just going to boil.
Yeah, we're all just going to make V8s and keep on doing what we're doing.
Noted.
There we go, right?
Because he kicked out of Paris in his first term, and then he did it to Biden put him.
Yeah,
and this is the
Biden
problem.
put America back.
This is the problem. Where's
did it
America?
again.
Like every 4 years, there's a new.
Just pick a struggle, pick a side.
A new crazy in town.
There's a new crazy in town. You get 4 different subscription services, far more variety, and you've gotten around the restrictions on the premium package.
But what you don't have there is.
That's true, but the DSTV debacle, that sent our TikTok crazy. We had people all over the African continent in our comments saying things like, this is how much we pay for subscriptions, this is the nonsense we have to deal with, we're not happy with DSTV. Since then, MultiChoice's subscriber base has declined over the year. I think they've lost something to the tune of north of 2 million or close to 2 million subscribers in a single year. And we've now seen that Netflix has gone after Warner Brothers, acquiring some Warner Brothers stake. So Netflix is improving their streaming facilities. MultiChoice and Canal Plus claim that they've got a lock on this, despite the fact that Showmax wasn't the darling that they thought.
But didn't they lose a whole bunch of channels last week?
They did, and we're going to be losing the Warner Brothers channels by the end of the year. That's been announced as well by MultiChoice. So I don't know if this makes the DSTV offering more attractive, less attractive, more concerning, less concerning. All we know is it has been one of the most hotly contested topics on the African continent, on our TikTok, and in the streaming world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it is, right? You pay a very, very vast amount, and they're still stuck in the past, and they've got their Showmax, but the world has moved past. Now they are adapting and changing, but man, there are glaciers and there are dead snails, and then there is MultiChoice.
That's the thing. And I think that with the adapting, that speaks to a lot more than just the streaming platforms, right? It speaks to media in general. Media has undergone a lot of changes over the years. Gone are the days where people used to buy print newspapers and just read those. A lot has changed, and to deliver news and entertainment now needs a fresh rethink.
Yeah.
And I suppose this is why the DSTV guys have been under so much pressure. The deal has gone through. Nonetheless, Canal Plus has gotten all the regulatory approvals. They've split the entities how they needed to. All of that has gone through this year as well. So that is officially over and done with. Whether or not 2026 will be a good year for streaming platforms, one will have to wait and find out. More so if people have choice.
Hey man, this Waka TV.
Okay, so I might want to check that out.
Okay. And I know, how do we use a credit card? Bang it out and then pay it off, and bang it out. And that's not what it's meant to be for you. It's like use a little and then, yeah.
That was an interesting conversation. When we had that conversation, we reflected on a lot to do with how banks and financial institutions view your credit profiles and some of the factors that make it tick. If you want to go dip into that, it is of course still available on our platforms. You can go revisit those conversations. But from our side, I think that set the tone for a lot of some of the personal finance decisions that people then make, and how people then approach certain conversations around long-term debt, around short-term debt, around vehicle financing. And we've had those conversations as well on the show. So I think the credit score chat was quite an interesting and enlightful one as well.
It was. And you know, we all know credit scores, but I think we don't. And there's lots of nuances.
We know the number.
Yeah, well, hopefully we know the number. But there's a lot that goes into it, and that's hugely important. And there has been a shift over the decades, but it is hugely important.
Like the credit scores of countries. And that's how we got off the grey list.
Yeah.
Credit scores of countries are a big thing as well. It's not just people that have credit scores. They might look different. They might take different shapes and forms, but countries have credit scores too.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And Moody's was moody, and
They were, hey, they were.
But they're always moody. Moody's moody.
That's why they're called Moody's.
De Beers and Botswana government. I thought Angola now wanted to buy some.
Yeah, but
everyone wants diamonds.
Everybody wants diamonds. But we spoke about this, and we were looking for suitors, and we went through a list of potential suitors to say, does the Oppenheimer family come back and buy it off? Botswana, De Beers, Angola. The Botswana government...
I'd forgotten about this.
Yay!
And no one's bought it yet.
No,
Beers.
no one's bought it yet. We do still have the...
Angolans wanted it last.
Yeah, they were partnering with the Botswana government to acquire it, and they were in that debate to see what's happening and where we go from there. So, that was another deal that was on the table, right?
Yeah. I mean, because it's the whole, and this goes back to last year's story, which was Billiton coming for Anglo and Anglo reprinting themselves.
Mm-hmm. And Billiton coming back this year for 24 hours and then going away again.
I know, like 24 hours. Like that is like
that was a weird one.
Yeah. And then kind of disappearing, and Anglo, a whole new beast, and now heading off to Canada.
So now we've had a lot of these.
Take your copper and go to Canada.
Go. We've had a lot of these interesting deals take place. Harmony going out into Australia, buying a couple of copper mines there, not just one. We're having these transactional relationships or transactional deals, particularly in the mining space, because a lot of the miners that previously might have been kind of a one-trick pony are now diversifying into other things, like Harmony going into a secondary kind of asset, or if you're a Sibanye Stillwaters that has put out into the market, hey, we are the diversified miner of choice, hence 250 or 260 odd % return over the year, right? So definitely a big shift in the mining game. Definitely the De Beers deal might be kind of the tipping point as to how businesses and miners started to see these relationships. We know the government there was initially unhappy with how much they were getting in royalties from the original Dipswana arrangement, and that's where it all kind of started to fall apart. But miners have really been the talk of the year.
They absolutely have, and it has been. It's been weird. And it's just the speed at which, so now we have to ask questions of, like, for example, Anglo-American Board. What were they doing? Drinking chai tea and eating, I don't know, hot dogs?
Well, if no one's asking you to do anything different and change, you don't, right? I mean, we've seen that happen in not just mining businesses, in lots of areas where people say we're doing things differently and perhaps they're not. The Killarney Country Club is on a R2 lease. Ooh. Oh, this sent everyone crazy.
Dude, I want a R2 lease. I mean, I'm not even so sussed at what it is.
Yeah.
Like, if I can just lease something for R2, like, I'm keen.
That's it.
Like R2.
That was something.
Like, even when I was a kid, R2 wasn't like a lot of money. I mean, it was money. Maybe it was my pocket money, but like my pocket money was not a lot of money.
No, that was something that sent everybody spinning. And then we got into things like 99-year leases and all sorts of conversations around what is fair, what is not, what is economically constructive, what helps with job creation and doesn't, and whether or not people should be paying R2 for a lease.
Yeah. I mean, 99 leases, fine. R2 leases. I want a R2 lease.
That would have made our Make It Make Sense.
Give me R2 lease.
That would have made an interesting Make It Make Sense if we had that segment around that time of the year. But we do still have some things that have taken place after that make the R2 lease look like just a joke, actually. But yes, that was quite the revelation in lease agreements.
Yeah.
I still have to see the paperwork there.
And there's probably loads of them, and many of them, I suspect, probably predate 94 for all the obvious reasons.
Yep.
And peeps are sitting there and like living on, I mean, R2 leases.
Maybe next year we'll look into them. Maybe we'll find them next year.
There is an argument in some cases, and we probably made it, where if you do a social good or something, but golf?
We'll circle back to that.
Simon Brown is a genius.
Send me R2 leases.
Is this Trevor Noah's cousin? Is this Trevor Noah's brother? Trevor Noah vibes. Guy with the snowman glasses sounds like Trevor.
You should lean into that.
Well, if they're gonna send you the R2 leases, they can send me his rate card. I'll gladly take his rate card per appearance, because at this rate I don't get paid enough. Shout out to TN though. If he ever needs a stand-in, if you ever need a body double, if you ever need someone to stand in and pretend to say the jokes that you were gonna say.
Well, we could just do it, right? We could book Ticket Pro Dome.
Okay.
Pretend it's Trevor Noah.
Okay.
And boom, run with the money. Of course, if you do something like that, it's got to be enough money so that you can run and stay run. You can't come back next year and pull that scam.
Could be an annual event. I don't know how it'd make it into an annual event.
Yeah,
Can we dupe you twice?
I thought this was Alan Bussack.
Who? Alan Bussack.
Me or Simon? Me.
Yo, it'd have to be a very, very young Alan Bussack.
I'm going to look, you know what, I'm going to Google what Uncle Alan looks like in this day and age. Huh?
I'm not sure he's even still around.
Well, technically, according to Google, he's 80 years old at the moment.
Well,
we don't have record of him passing away.
There's a very young Alan Bussack. Nah, more Trevor Noah. No, Alan's got a wider, squarer face.
I've got nothing, folks.
Nah.
I've got nothing.
Nah.
I've got absolutely
That's like
nothing.
all colours look the same.
I've heard the Trevor Noah comment most of my life. From
The
as
first time I
early-
met you, we were at a MoneyWeb end of year ding dong. It was
Yes.
probably 2 or 3 years ago. I'd never met you before. You'd been on my show, you'd hosted my show, you'd been gay, but I'd never met you.
Yeah.
And I walk in and I walk up to this chap as I always do, and I'm like, I'm Simon Brown. And I'm expecting the oak to say, and I'm Trevor Noah. And he said, I'm Jimmy. And I'm like, oh boy, hello there.
Okay, so even Simon's been confused by this. But this has been the story of my life. For a long time, this has been the case until you see a photo of me with my father, and then you're like, oh no, that's definitely that guy's kid. So I look exactly like my father, and apparently I look like Trevor as well. So again, Trevor, if you are looking for someone to
Yeah, stand in.
on your podcast.
He stood in for me.
Podcast experience.
Yeah, he stood in for me. He's a pro.
Some interesting moments, some very, very nostalgic moments that we'd completely forgotten about. And all of this took place in this year.
Yeah, that's just it. All of it took place in this year. I mean,
What a year.
We're not having to go back far.
Wow.
I'm hoping for next year to be so boring that I don't know where my guests are.
I'm
that
happy with that.
You and I sit here with nothing to say.
I'm happy with taking a year off next year. It's been too much. It's been way too much this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that's where we're going to leave our bubbles of Christmas. Let's get into the Festive Awards. We did this last year.
Yes.
We gave out some interesting awards. We're going to keep the awards in terms of a lot of the categories. And we've got some very deserving winners this year. So last year what we did with the awards was we had a couple of nominations and then we kind of chose the best one. This year we went straight to the winners because there were standout winners in every single category that make it very difficult to compete with. So let's kick things off with what we did last year, our uninvited guest of the year.
Yeah, yes. They're actually potentially, I could think of a couple of uninvited guests of the year, although one was elected, so I don't know if that truly
No,
counts.
he gets a special award.
Okay, he gets the special award. Because it's been a year. Bet you forgot about Doge.
Oh, yeah,
Remember
that was this
Doge?
year too, right?
Yeah. It got shut down a few weeks ago because if you really want to save money, shut down the money saving in the...
But you see, so the uninvited guest of the year is very similar to that. It's along those lines. Liberation Day.
Oh,
Nobody asked for it,
No.
but we all got it.
And it only lasted a week.
See?
And then it kind of, 90 deals in 90 days? I don't think they've done 9 deals yet.
900 days later, we still don't have anything.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on.
No one does.
See? Uninvited guest of the year.
Yes, Liberation Day.
Liberation Day. We could have honestly done without that for this year.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what it did? We also have to remember, like in day one, he was throwing tariffs at like Mexico and Canada. Canada, the largest undefended border in the world. And he's like, yep. You people, remember, he wanted to annex it. Oh, goodness.
Canadians are apparently the nicest people on earth, and you're wanting to go after them.
Maple syrup, man. Come on.
They have
Comes
no
out of
structure
trees.
here.
Yeah. And then it just ratcheted to that point on 2nd of April, which fortunately wasn't the first because no one would have believed it. And at that point, markets collapsed. And more importantly, the US 10-year went to 4.5. And then he backpedaled and said they were going to do 90 deals. And truthfully, there's a lot of tariffs out there. Make no mistake about it. We just had record Chinese data coming through. So, yes, lots of tariffs, but don't let that Chinese trade surplus of $111 billion in November, exports up 5.9%. So all he's doing is breaking America. He wants to break the world.
But he's
Instead,
breaking everyone else. Which is why the next category of Grinch of the Year goes to the defending champion, Donald J. for Genius Trump.
Probably for the next 3 years too. Actually, I think by 2027, he's on his way out.
So we'll award it to someone else by then?
Well, we might still give it to him. Just,
Just out of,
out of something. But by then, he's lost the midterms. He's on his way going. If you've lost Marjorie Taylor Greene, what's left?
Also, we kind of feel bad that the Nobel Committee wouldn't give him a Nobel Peace Prize. So I suppose we'll give him this as well, right? But honestly, he is well deserving of this title.
He is. You know what? And it comes to the point, and we've said this many times on the show, is that what he's done is he's upended 80 years of geopolitical peace since the end of the Second World War. And you don't just now put a new president in 2029 and hope that everything goes back to normal. He's broken trust. And that trust took a long time. It goes back to Churchill and Roosevelt and weirdly Stalin.
But that requires some measure of absolute skill to break down generations of trust across presidents that preceded you by several decades. And to fundamentally do it in less than 12 months. That must be a record.
I mean, I would argue he had done it by April or by Liberation Day. But you don't rebuild it. This is a new world, as witnessed by, and if you chat with Adrian Seville, I remember probably 10 years ago, he had a chart of power shifting from sort of western north to sort of east and eastern south. In other words, to Asia and the global south. And Trump's just accelerated this. America decline's a big word, but they had probably peaked. And now you could stay at your peak for a long time. I mean, you can stay there for ages and forever and a day and surprise people. But it is that he's accelerated that decline, which is bad for America. It puts us in a incredibly uncertain environment as a planet. And, at the end of it, it'll all shake out. And I don't want to say it'll be fine. It'll be different. But it really has just shaken the planet when it didn't need shaking. The global order, mind you, okay, I suppose some people will say the global order wasn't great. Anyway, we got a new one.
We did.
Happy
And
25.
I suppose, to be fair, if this was ever going to happen, there was no real way of getting it done any cleaner than this, I guess.
Well, it would have just been a gradual shift over decades.
Yeah, it would have taken too long. This is a lot quicker.
I mean, remember once upon a time, the sun never set in the British Empire. Now, that is actually no longer true, as of they gave up one of their islands, I think, in October. But, the British as an empire peaked about 100, early 1900s. But it's easy to look back now and say, at the time, it's like sort of, there wasn't at that point in time where, people like you and I and the like could put a stick in the ground and say, boom. It was a gradual thing which you could see in hindsight. This time, man, boom.
Done. We've got a day, we've got a time point in history that then forever fundamentally changes everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that have fundamentally changed everything, we're going into the next category, Elves of the Year.
So my thought was PGMs, but I think elves, so it's plural. So I'm going to take liberties and say and the Tsar.
And the Tsar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe even throw inflation in there. All these little things, we talk around the green shoots. And the reason why I would say that they're elves, because elves are like kind of small and in the background. I assume. I've never met an elf. But that's what I assume.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what's happened. I mean, everyone's talking gold. PGMs had a good year too.
They did.
Everyone's talking this, and then the rand, sub 17. We were 1990 in April, and then inflation, which has just sort of ticked down, and now we've got a new target. So yeah.
So inflation, I don't want to put in the elves category because I think it's a deserving winner of another category.
It gets its own award. Okay, we take it out.
But I agree with you with the fact that there's a lot of little things that have suddenly come together, And despite all of these things coming together, we still almost had a Scrooge of the Year, which is the next category we're getting into.
Yeah.
I don't like awarding this award to this particular individual, but the story does track. Because if you know the story of Scrooge, he starts out with, not the most favorable of scenarios, but in the end becomes the hero of the story.
Yes.
Right? And this is exactly how this year worked out for this particular recipient of this award. Now, a lot of it in part wasn't his own fault. There were a lot of other extenuating circumstances between the governments and the things around decision making and who says what and how it all goes, right? But the mere fact that at the start of this year, we wanted to increase our VAT. And by the end of the year, we've realized we don't actually have to do that. And we've agreed an inflation target of the year. I think Scrooge of the Year this year goes to our Minister of Finance.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the VAT story. And 3 budget attempts.
And 3
I was
speeches.
in an
I didn't want to mention it, but you brought it up.
I was in an Uber in Cape Town heading to a budget event for the evening and listening to you on the wireless. And it's like, dude, it's 2:05. Why are you still talking? And then it's like, and then as I get out the Uber, the guy says, they've cancelled the budget. budget, and I'm like, they're
Raucous.
like they what? I've flown to Cape Town to be a keynote at an event with Karen
For the
Moore
budget.
and others, and 200 guests at a fancy wine farm, and it's like, well, at least there's wine, I guess. It actually ended up being a great event nonetheless. Yeah, and I like your point. Look, in his defense, you couldn't see what saved him is precious metals.
But you couldn't see that run
You
in
couldn't
February.
see that in February. Well, but the point is that he needed like 60 billion, which is like, come on, check behind the president's couch. Like,
Which
this
we
is not-
found for you.
Yes.
Did we not do an entire episode
where we
finding the
find-
money?
We found it for him.
Yes.
And then eventually he found it too. But he also almost broke the GNU, which to your point around Scrooge and how the story plays out, in almost breaking the GNU, I think he actually strengthened it. Because
In almost breaking Christmas, Scrooge actually saved Christmas. That's exactly the same, what you're saying, Simon.
Yeah. And then he gave us a really, really good medium-term budget policy statement. And
What a dream. Which is the other side of Scrooge coming out and saying, I'm going to share my wealth.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
makes sense, doesn't it?
yeah, yes.
There we go.
Enoch,
There we go.
kind of love you.
Yes.
But we don't always.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for the work that you've done this year. Thank you to you and your team. And most importantly, thank you for giving us the ultimate gift of the year, which is our next category. Saab inflation. Easy winner in that category. Nothing even comes close. 30 years into democracy, the first fundamental policy change ever in the history of fiscal and monetary policy that actually means the right move in our economy. 150 basis points.
And I think you're right. I think we overlook it. I think the inflation target is massive. I look, our MPC is grinchy at many times. They're definitely grumpy. But you know what? We sit here 150 points down, as you say. Okay,
That's it.
Still 10 and a quarter. And our terminal rate's probably going to be around about 9-ish, maybe 9.5. That's quite the achievement. And it was also, when inflation blew out in 22, 23, we had Europe and America with higher inflation than us. And for them, that was the first time in 40 years that they'd had inflation blowout. And it really, really shook them. For us, it was just, another inflation blowout. We get them from time to time.
But on that point, Simon, our inflation blowout capping out below 8%, whereas historically South African inflation used to be as high as 13%.
16.
Technically wasn't even, democratically speaking, that technically means we didn't even have a blowout.
Yeah, but not
We
by standards.
might be the one economy that managed to rein in inflation the way we intended to when all the central bank governors set out on that mission. And to that point, just on the rand that you mentioned earlier, that sits in our Elves of the Year category, 16 Rand 94 would have been unheard of if you had given me that figure in April of this year. I would have laughed.
100%. I agree with you absolutely. And as much as we poke at them and we pick on them and everything else, truthfully, they've really done a very, what, central bankers are supposed to, I suppose, be grumpy and wear grey. And, well, actually, our governor wears lovely ties.
He does.
But aside from that, that's what you want from your central bankers, I suppose. Yeah.
You want consistency, you want stability, and I think we've gotten more stability out of our central bank than many developed countries can ever say.
Absolutely.
On policy direction, on staying the course, and on managing those expectations. So we might not necessarily like it, and we can have a separate conversation about that in the new year.
Sure.
But in terms of consistency and deliverables, it met all of the targets it needed to, and that is why the ultimate gift of the year this year is Saab's inflation targeting / the National Treasury's inflation targeting, because they go hand in hand as institutions on this particular matter. Which brings us to our pick of the year. Gold.
Has to be.
Can't be anything else, can it?
Americans are all saying, oh, it's AI. No, guys, come on.
Nvidia,
Just for
can't be.
I'm going to read you some numbers. I've actually got the chart here because I'm doing an event later. Where is my numbers? Not there. I don't know. Full some dead air while I look for my numbers. I should have known this was coming.
That's
right?
okay. While you find those numbers, I'm going to throw a curveball into our mix because our final award is Santa of the Year. Now, yes, we do a lot of markets conversations and company conversations and the like on the show. But I think if anyone's been keeping an eye on the socials lately, on what's been happening lately, Santa of the Year for me is an award that you give to someone that gave unexpected gifts. And so, yes, someone like our Reserve Bank Governor, Malumela Sija, is worthy of that title. And I thought perhaps we'd give it to him in light of what has happened, along with Minister of Finance and all of that. But for me, that becomes a bit of a weird thing to split and try and manage. And so they both get honorable mentions. Scrooge of the Year is also an honorable mention for Santa of the Year because of the turnaround. And our minister, our central bank governor is an honorable mention in that category. But I would be hard-pressed to beat this Santa, because this Santa has given the gift to everybody in the world. And whether we like the gift or not, it's a lot of gifting.
You have me.
50 Cent and the Diddy documentary. Folks, if you have not watched that, if you have not dipped into that, wow, that man and currency, there's a lot that can be said about it. There's a lot that can be said about it, about what's going on there. But from a gifting from a gifting perspective, Curtis Jackson stood up and said, I'm not going to narrate and give my opinions on things. I'm just going to show you guys some footage.
Yeah.
Lots of footage.
Lots of footage.
From many, many years. Some of it shocking, some of it appalling, some of it absolutely beyond belief and beyond measure. But I think that's worthy of Santa of the Year.
Sure. No,
it's a big gift.
Wasn't where I was going, but I take your point. And it's to everybody.
It's to everybody. That's the thing. It's to every single person. We got an answer to what happened to Biggie. We potentially got an answer to what happened to Tupac. We know what happened to Kim Porter. Just the list of unsolved things that this man has now solved on behalf of the FBI. I suppose 50's well earned. He's worked hard for that one. So, Curtis Jackson, good sir, you are Santa of the Year. And we're back to that pick of the year.
Yeah, so gold and dollars up almost 60%, and rand up 46 because weirdly the rand was strong. So hey, we got a bit of a shine taken off there. But let's start at the bottom of the list. Harmony up. This is year to date close Friday. Harmony 126%. Now you could just stop there and say thank you.
Okay, so basically the Harmony share price doubled and then did some more.
Yeah, and it was the loser.
And that was the worst performer.
Because Pan did 202. Hang on a second. Goldfields 230, 227, DRD 243, Anglo Gold Ashanti 259, Sibanye, which I throw in because they now a lot more gold than they used to be, 261% in year-to-date close Friday, 5 December.
161%. Now,
people get excited about AI.
Yes,
I'm like, guys, your AI is just boring.
Yeah, and the thing with AI, we're not trying to take the shine away from the likes of NVIDIA and what they're doing and all of that. Yeah, they can have that, but understand the context of the South African economy and the context of how our companies have historically been undervalued, overperforming, over-leveraged, and now you're seeing miners being able to pay back debts, pay out special dividends, share prices doubling. In Sibanye's case, almost tripling at that point. I mean, to do 2.5 times your share price in the space of a year with the same inputs, right? So you're not increasing outputs, you're not adjusting any of your costings to the upside, but you're suddenly getting that much more revenue and suddenly getting that much more appreciation in the share price. Gold is the reason, and we thank gold for that.
Yeah, it's quite weird because, of course, we had long given up on being a gold economy.
And now we've opened a gold mine for the first time in 15 years.
I mean, there's a good point. We've opened a gold mine, and notwithstanding, I mean, the whole thing, we don't produce as much gold as we used to. Well, no, because we've been pulling out the ground for 140 years. We've got the cool, the easy stuff, and now it's like, but, suddenly our market is like a third or so, top 40 is a third of it is gold.
That's it. Anyone interested into what we meant by a new gold mine? Shout out to Rudy Daisel and the team at Kala Shallows. They are, and I spoke to them about this, right?
Are they listed?
They're not listed. They're listed in Australia.
So. Oh, is that where
West
they're
Wits
listed?
is listed in Australia. That's the parent company of Kala Shallows. Now, you might be interested to know that for a gold miner and for where they're mining, would you take a guess at how far down they have to go into the earth, according to their estimates, to extract
Well, if they're
this
in
gold?
the West Wits, that means they're in the West Witwatersrand, I assume.
They're still in the Witwatersrand belt, which is historically, for anyone that wants to know, the belt that has produced 20% of the world's gold, at least.
Yeah. And probably has another 50%, but I reckon they're going at least, 3-4 Ks down? 3 Ks. Can't be less than 2 or 3 at least.
800 meters.
Whoa, hold on, that's just a little scratchy.
Get a pickaxe. Scrape the surface.
800 meters.
Less than a kilometer down, and they're able to get gold out.
Yowza.
and we think South Africa's poor. Come on, guys. Pick of the year.
Because there's some gold there. There's some gold there that is about 8 k's down, and you've got 4 k's of dolomite between you
to
and
get
the gold.
through. Yeah.
So you're never going to get
Exactly.
there. 800 meters.
Yes, less than 1 kilometer.
PGM miners go that far. The hole at Hotters Hill for Kumba Iron Ore is about probably 600 meters deep.
So there we go.
Wow.
Useful life of mine, 17 years on that one. We're going to leave that on that note. We're going to leave our Festive Awards on that note with our picks. Let us know what your picks are. We'd love to hear your thoughts around how you saw the year that was and what you reflect on some of the picks that we've chosen. We're going to get into some other stuff, though. Stick around for that and see what that's all about. Given that Simon has a cat, I thought perhaps he could help me make sense of things. We're going to do a final round of things we want to make sense of for the year. We might not get through it. We probably won't because we've only been able to make sense of one thing since we've had the segment. So let's get into Make It Make Sense. First one. It's so you can lick your cat back.
Okay. My cat would probably eat me. She's grumpy.
It's a cat tongue something.
Yeah, I know.
This would probably confuse you more than anything else.
Candles.
Yes.
Yeah, that is not going to work.
Imagine this sitting next to your actual pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
That wouldn't make any sense.
No,
right?
It's not going to work.
But there are some numbers that I do want to make sense of one final time in the year, and some other news as well. Right? Thabo Bester.
Hey, what's he done now? Is he still in jail?
Yeah, well,
I don't know. Did you check this morning?
Given his record, I don't know, is heading towards trial and in preparation for the trial has requested, as part of being able to ready himself or the legal team to be able to ready themselves for a defense of, I don't know what we're defending.
Because to be clear, he was convicted the last time and was in jail.
Yes, right.
So what's he confessed? Like he's
Not what we're making sense of. What we're making sense of is what his legal team has requested. The phone records of the Minister of Finance as well as the President of the Republic.
Hey, he thinks they care about him. They don't even know who he is.
Did he have a conversation with them? What is he trying to get out of the records? What conversation is he? What's happening?
Yeah, stalling, right? Because, yeah, I mean, to be clear, he was sentenced and in jail and then he escaped. He should just be in there serving his term. He was serving. Now he wants to see the president's phone records.
We just find the stuff, Si. We just find the stuff. We try to make sense of it, and we've got a terrible record at that.
That does not make sense.
Okay, because this has been probably why this gentleman won Grinch of the Year in our Festive Awards. Go check that out. 2 things, 2 conversations around Donald Genius Trump. The J is for genius, guys. First is family related, right? Scenario: 1789 Capital is invested in a company called Vulcan Elements.
Pay attention when you do these things.
Vulcan Elements is in the rare earth metals game. Vulcan Elements is or has won a contract or is in a deal for the exploration of these rare earth elements, right? The United States Department of Defense, via its Office of Strategic Capital. Now, to be clear, for the simpletons out there like Simon and I, the United States Department of Defense, via this specific office, is, in simple English, the Pentagon, right? The building that has the 5 little shape sides, 900 billion rand defensive budget on an annual basis, $1 billion defensive budget on an annual basis, the largest defensive budget of any country in the world, bigger than the defensive budgets of the other 9 top 10 countries in the world in terms of defensive spend. That Pentagon, right? Those guys, through their Office of Strategic Capital, have made their largest conditional direct loan ever approved in the history of that office. 620 million to Vulcan Elements. Vulcan Elements has a shareholder in the form of 1789 Capital. Strategic advisor and owner of 1789 Capital is Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, then it all makes sense. Yeah, looped around. Okay.
So we made sense of something. That's the second one.
No, we did. That does make sense. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. No.
So don't put the money in the couch. Just put it in.
Just loop it
a
around.
Company.
Just pay. And that's the thing here. They don't even hide it. They're just like, I mean, they have a company, sure. But they're just like, zip, here's $620 million.
That's it. Much like the airplanes that were donated.
Yeah,
by the Middle East.
Don't spend it all at once.
Well, you can. We'll just give you another 600 million if you do. Don't worry about it. It's not like you have any form of accountability having been bankrupt, coming from a family that's been bankrupted several times.
You bankrupted a casino. Like, you can just stop there. Like, you can't.
See? Even the elf couldn't believe that. Even the elf couldn't believe that. The other one that relates to the Trump family, and that also makes our Make It Make Sense segment this time around, is one that our ghost producer is personally touched by. So for those that don't know, we have an amazing team that works behind the scenes to make everything possible, to make the show what it is and to help us deliver what we deliver for you. And a lot of our team are football fans, not just our producer, not just our engineers behind the microphones and the sound engineers. Everybody is a football fan to a certain degree. So imagine their surprise when the FIFA, do you remember this? Did we tell you about this? We didn't tell you about this. You look very confused. So let me give you a bit of context. For those that didn't get the context, like Simon, following the Nobel Peace Prize and the Nobel Committee awarding that Peace Prize, the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, announced that there will be a FIFA Peace Prize. That will be awarded to individuals that unite through sport, or that foster peace through sport, or that inspire, hopefully, through sport. The inaugural Peace Prize was awarded this past week. The first ever recipient of that from FIFA themselves. And perhaps let me run you through a couple of names of who I thought could be contenders when this was announced. Right? Just for their contributions. And I'll keep it to sport because, you know,
that's what you would think, right?
That's what you would think, right? I'm just going to throw names out there, folks, and just let us know, I mean, if any of these names resonate, if you know any of these people or any of them sound vaguely familiar, right? Pele, Maradona, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Zinedine Zidane, Sir David Beckham, who has just completed history with
even
Inter Miami and the MLS, all right? Luis Figo,
Messi,
Jose Mourinho. We've got Messi somewhere on the list. We don't even have to get into coaches. Fine. Let's move on beyond one particular sport. Let's go into other sports, right? And say this was a sporting thing, right?
Muhammad Ali,
Lewis
Hamilton.
Okay. Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant. You might as well throw in LeBron James there. Heck, Michael Jordan, number 23. Tiger Woods, Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, Bjorn Borg, Roger Federer. I'm just going to keep naming sportsmen from different sporting codes and stop me when you recognize one of these names. I thought perhaps if we're giving out a sporting award, that would be where it would go, right?
Just sporting.
The first recipient of this award, President Donald J. Trump.
Like, I wasn't even surprised when I woke up and whenever it was and people were talking about this for two things. So I'm going to tell you a story. Way back when I was in grade 1 for the young kids, I was at Ladysmith. And we had a sports day. And one race was an egg and spoon race. And I came last. Maybe I came second last. I forget. Anyway, everyone got to keep their egg. Like, you know, you competed, you got to keep your egg. And that's what this is. It's like a participation award. But in this case, it's just like, you know, stroking egos of the child man. Well, I mean, and to be clear, FIFA, I mean, I got, you know, 2 words for you. Sepp Blatter. FIFA's hardly this you know, virtuous organization. And I know they would say that they're not Sepp Blatter anymore. I mean, maybe, but yeah.
So
I got $10 that says there's no 2026 FIFA Peace Award.
Just to be clear, the award is presented each year to individuals who helped unite people all over the world in peace. Right?
Through sport.
Not necessarily through sport. Apparently it's broadened through in peace. This is the same individual who is threatening war on Venezuela for not providing them with oil as he sees fit. The same person who's threatened Mexico, Brazil, pretty much all the South American countries, has said that South Africa is the worst country on the planet, has banned individuals from attending the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States, has banned countries from attending that. But he's fostering peace. So we're making sense of that.
Yeah, stroking egos. The fun fact is, we're playing Mexico in Mexico, opening game. Is Trump going to go?
No, because South Africa and Mexico are very bad places.
But in Mexico, but it's the opening game of the World Cup, and he got the Peace Prize. Come on, he must be there.
Folks, it's Christmas. We're going to try and end things on a Christmassy note. It's been very Trumpy. It's been stuff we don't want to look at and stuff we don't want to reflect on. But we're going to end the show with the final unfiltered opinion of the year. This is probably the biggest unfiltered opinion, and I think it's well deserving of closing out our show. Ladies and gentlemen, members of our community, local, international, yes, we have an international audience. This year's unfiltered opinion is, and I will translate it for our non-South African lingo audience, please return your skaftins. Everybody throughout the year that has given you lunch, that has given you takeaways, that has made you little packages, return the containers. Tupperware is in business because we do not return containers, which interesting, that rebrand of Tupperware throughout the year was something else that we spoke about. But the unfiltered opinion of the year is return the Tupperwares. We're going to leave the conversation there. That's going to be us. We wish you a very pleasant festive season. We will be back next year.
I don't know when. Don't look at me.
We don't know when. We'll all find out together. And in line with that, as we part, as we remind you that investing isn't hard, just try it. This is how I would like 2025 to be remembered by our insider community. Some of you might recognize what I have in hand here.
What's in your Woolies bag?
In my Woolies bag.
I have questions.
Of course you have questions.
Because this Woolly bag become famous.
Happy Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Someone see this, folks.
So it's not 500,000 cash.
Well, you haven't opened the present yet. You don't know. It's in a Woolies bag. Make of that what you will. That's the show for the year, folks. Investing hasn't been hard. You should have just tried it.
Disclaimer. The views expressed by the host of Insider Exchange do not necessarily represent those of our clients, sponsors, partners, or guests and should not be considered investment advice in any way. Similarly, the views and opinions of our guests and clients do not necessarily reflect those of our hosts or on our platform. Nothing shared on this platform should be read as constituting investment advice of any kind on the part of Insider Exchange. Any of its hosts, guests, partners, or sponsors trading and investing carry varying levels of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please ensure you fully understand the risk and take appropriate care to manage your risk. We strongly advise that you obtain independent financial, legal, and tax advice from regulated professionals and institutions before proceeding with investing decisions. Can I go and play now?